Heartwarming discovery. Millionaire exposed to life-changing balance. What he saw was incredible. When Nathan Bennett stepped out of his sleek, black sports car and into the sun-kissed streets of Maplewood, it felt as though the world around him paused. The air, scented with fresh coffee from Sunny's diner, was a stark contrast to the sterile, air-conditioned confines of his Silicon Valley penthouse. His lingering gaze over the vibrant, tree-lined streets revealed families and laughter with no filters, just pure joy that poured from their interactions. For the first time in years, Nathan felt something stir within him, like a long-forgotten language suddenly remembered. As he walked toward the diner, he noticed a group of kids cheering for one another as they shot hoops. Their happiness struck Nathan like a 2x4. His own life, filled with glitz and glamour, suddenly seemed so shallow. He remembered grand parties, expensive champagne, and thousands of followers online, yet none of that brought the warmth of a shared laugh. Suddenly, a tightness formed in his chest. Could it be that behind all the success was a heavy, hollow shell? Inside the diner, he found Linda, the owner, juggling plates and kids with an effortless smile. Her grit shone like gold in a town that seemed to have faded from the world's fast-paced race. Veteran patrons reminisced and shared a worn-out newspaper, producing laughter like music threading through conversations. This was real life, the kind he traded for investor meetings and cold analytics. As the fragrant aromas enveloped him, Nathan felt a warmth burst inside his heart. He listened as Linda welcomed him, her genuine laughter wrapping around him like a warm blanket. Yet, just as Nathan began to revel in these new experiences, the winds shifted. News of an economic downturn swept through Maplewood, leaving Linda's diner on the brink of closing. The urgency in the community meeting stirred a fire in his soul. Townsfolk spoke candidly about fighting for each other. How this diner was a home, a gathering point, a heart beating at the center of their lives. Each plea unraveled something deep within him, a stark revelation that wealth wasn't the only currency. They had each other, and that was priceless. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Nathan was fueled by a fire he hadn't felt in years. He stood in that diner, surrounded by the warmth of shared struggles and aspirations, emotions igniting within him. Then came the moment that rocked his world. Whispers ricocheted around the room about a family secret, a truth that could change everything he thought he knew about success, loyalty, and even his very identity. His heart raced. This wave of emotion and revelation held him captive in a new reality, where money alone wouldn't save this community or himself. As eyes turned toward him, the choice loomed before him: would he stand for the very fabric of what family and community meant, or retreat back to the comfort of his wealth? The room fell silent, and Nathan knew he stood on the brink of transformation, teetering between two worlds, caught up in a question that would redefine everything. What was he willing to sacrifice to help Maplewood stand tall again? Nathan felt the weight of every gaze upon him, a mixture of hope and desperation flitting through the air. The diner felt smaller somehow, as if the very walls were leaning in, eager for his answer. He could hear the soft clinking of dishes and the faint hum of a classic tune playing from an old jukebox, but those sounds faded in comparison to the thudding of his own heart. For the first time, he was faced with a decision that felt more about humanity than profit margins. As he looked around, he saw the faces of the people who had shared laughter and warmth with him just moments ago. Linda, her hands on her hips and a spark in her eye, reminded him of someone who would fight tooth and nail to protect what mattered most. There was Old Man Harris, nodding with encouragement, and the kids outside still celebrating every made basket. Each of them was intertwined in the fabric of this community. And here he was, a stranger wielding the power to change their fate. He cleared his throat, prepared to say something. Anything. But as the words formed, he hesitated. What did he really know about struggle? Over the years, he had built walls around his heart to shield himself from vulnerability. He was the millionaire who threw parties to cover his emptiness, not to foster connections. The thought clung to him now, a painful reminder of his past. I've been where you are, holding on to dreams, he began, his voice steadying as he spoke. But it's not just about doing what's right for myself anymore. I've seen the light here. The strength that comes from being together as a community. I want to be part of that. Eyes widened. Whispers raced through the diner, a mingling of excitement and disbelief. What was he proposing? Was the man who dined on excess really ready to transform? He felt an edge of fear slip in, but the feeling of purpose quickly overshadowed it. I know I'm new here, he continued, but if there's a way I could help fight for this diner, for Maplewood, I want to make that happen. It can't close. It won't not while I'm here. Linda's eyes twinkled. She stepped forward, the crowd tightening around Nathan. You really mean that? This place matters to all of us. More than you know, he replied, taking a deep breath and embracing the risky leap he was about to take. I've been lost for so long, but I think I found something worth believing in again, right here. If we can rally together to save this diner, I can organize a fundraiser, bring in sponsors, anything. A swell of murmurs broke out, a chorus of hope mixed with caution. Would the town trust him? Could he earn their faith after living so far removed from the struggles they faced every day? It was a tall order, but Nathan could sense a shift in the energy around him. Perhaps this was a chance not just to help, but to transform himself. And then from the back, a voice broke through, the young boy who had been practicing hoops outside. Mr. Bennett will help too. We can raise money. The whole town will come. The tears stinging Nathan's eyes surprised him. They were tears of gratitude, of belonging, of something he thought he'd lost. He had spent years chasing emptiness, yet in this moment of communal kinship, he had found the beginnings of purpose. But as the adrenaline pulsed through him, the shadows of doubt still danced in the corners of his mind. Was he truly ready for this journey? What if it turned out he didn't have the strength when it counted most? With renewed determination, Nathan looked at the room full of hopeful faces. Let us set a date. We will start tomorrow. As the room erupted in applause, Nathan felt the shift beneath his feet, a threshold crossed. He was standing at the cusp of change, a tsunami of challenges ahead, the likes of which he had never faced in his life of privilege. But the question echoed still. Was he truly ready to dive into this new world and expose himself, not just to risk, but to the possibility of connection? And what secrets lay ahead, waiting to confront him as he took his new steps forward? The sun rose the next day, spilling golden light across Maplewood. Nathan's heart raced as he replayed the previous night's vow, his feet tapping nervously against the floor of his tiny guest house. The thrill of his promise clashed with a sense of overwhelming uncertainty. Who was he to ignite change in this tight-knit community? He wasn't even part of it yet. His mind was a whirlwind of ideas. Fundraiser, sponsors, how would he actually pull it off? He grabbed a pen and paper, scribbling down every possible idea that came to him. A bake sale? A car wash? Perhaps even a charity basketball game. As he jotted down possibilities, he could almost feel the weight of the diner's fate pressing down on him. By mid-morning, he found himself at the diner, its familiar neon sign flickering cheerily, promising breakfast and camaraderie. Linda greeted him with an approving smile as he walked through the door. Ready to get started? She asked, her enthusiasm infectious. Absolutely, Nathan said, feeling a spark of excitement pulse through him. I want to involve everyone. The kids, the elders, even the skeptics. We need a plan that everyone can rally behind. Linda nodded, her focus shifting to a table of regulars. The chatter and laughter filled the space, and Nathan could feel the warmth of community gathering around him. How about we start with a brainstorming session? We could put together a flyer and invite people to come up with ideas. This diner belongs to them, he suggested, enthusiasm bubbling to the surface. Linda's eyes lit up. I love it. Let us do it. We'll meet this afternoon and begin to plan. Everyone needs to feel they have a stake in it. As they began spreading the word, excitement echoed through the diner. People gathered, offering their thoughts and talents. There were artists ready to create banners, bakers who were eager to whip up treats, and coaches willing to organize games. Nathan watched in awe as the community coalesced around a singular purpose. In that moment, It didn't matter that he had come from a world far removed from theirs. Here, he was just one of them. But underneath the blossoming excitement, the shadow of doubt lurked. What if he failed? What if they all looked to him for answers, and he faltered? He forced those thoughts down, choosing to concentrate on the moment, the laughter, the ideas springing to life. As the meeting commenced, voices piled upon voices, all energized by the possibility of what was to come. Nathan shared his vision of a grand event. A day where they could showcase their efforts, promote the diner, and draw in support from the broader town. He felt a surge of courage when he stood to speak, looking into the hopeful faces surrounding him. Let us make this a celebration. Not just for the diner, but for Maplewood. We'll invite everyone, friends, family, even folks from neighboring towns. Let us show them what we're made of. Cheers erupted in the room, raising the roof with a chorus of enthusiasm that echoed around the diner. Yet, in the midst of the thrill, Nathan caught sight of Old Man Harris sitting at a corner table, his expression solemn. "Trust takes time, son," Harris called out, his voice gravelly but firm. "You can't rush it." Nathan's heart sank a little. Old Man Harris, wasn't he wrong? He couldn't shake the feeling that deep down, there was still a wall of skepticism among some. As the meeting wrapped up, and plans started to solidify, Nathan felt the weight of the challenge ahead. Would he be able to earn their trust? The day of the event loomed over him like a storm cloud waiting to burst. What if he lost everything? But just then, the little boy who had jumped to join Nathan the day before dashed up, interrupting his worries. "Mr. Bennett, I can't wait to help. It's gonna be awesome." And there it was again, hope, bursting forth in unexpected places. Still, with the event only days away, Nathan couldn't shake off the chill of uncertainty. What if the event didn't go as planned? Or worse, what if it turned into a grand failure? As he looked around, he felt both a sense of purpose and a pulse of vulnerability. Was he truly ready to face the fallout of this endeavor? With each passing hour, the anticipation and trepidation blended inside him, a haunting balance between the fear of failure and the thrill of community. He had opened his heart to possibilities, but the road ahead remained uncertain. And soon enough, Nathan would discover just how heavy the burden of rekindling trust could be. Would he embrace it, or would he fold when facing the reality of community ties? The days flew by, and before Nathan knew it, the event was right around the corner. He spent every waking hour at the diner, surrounded by friends old and new, sketching out plans, gathering supplies, and making sure every detail was spot on. Excitement buzzed like electricity in the air. Yet, the closer they got to the big day, the louder the doubt grew in the back of his mind. What if no one showed up? What if all their hard work amounted to nothing? He kept pushing those thoughts aside, trying to stay focused on the positive energy radiating from those around him. The morning of the event dawned bright and clear, the sun shining down on Maplewood like a blessing. Nathan arrived at the diner early, the smell of fresh coffee wafting around him, invigorating his spirit. He found Linda already setting up, her hair pulled back in a ponytail, a smile plastered across her face. "Today is the day," she declared, barely able to contain her excitement. "We did it, huh?" Nathan replied, his voice tinged with equal parts anxiety and hope. As the hours passed, the diner filled with laughter and chatter. Volunteers came pouring in, the children running around with bright smiles and eager hands ready to help. The smell of baked goods wafted from the kitchen, and the sound of music strumming softly filled the air. It was everything Nathan had envisioned. But as the appointed hour crept closer, Nathan's heart raced uncontrollably. What if the turnout is low? What if the community isn't ready to embrace this? What if they don't believe in me? His thoughts were interrupted by the little boy from earlier, Lucas, who rushed up. "Mr. Bennett, look at all the balloons." Lucas giggled, holding up a colorful bunch he'd helped tie to the entrance. The sight tugged at Nathan's heart. The simple joy of that moment made him realize that the success of the event didn't hinge solely on numbers, it was about the spirit of people coming together. As afternoon unfolded, families filtered into the diner, their faces filled with curiosity and delight. They played games, tasted homemade pies, and enjoyed live music as laughter echoed. Nathan watched in amazement as people connected with one another, sharing stories and smiles. But amidst the joy, Nathan still felt a lingering thread of unease. He sought out Old Man Harris, who had been quietly observing the festivities from his usual corner table. "What do you think?" Nathan asked, his voice a mixture of hope and anxiety. Harris looked up, a glint of approval in his eye. "It's a start, Nathan. It's a start, but don't think you're done yet," he cautioned, his brows knitted. "The community needs more than one event. You can't disappear after this." Nathan nodded, the weight of Harris's words settling deep inside. He understood the challenge ahead. It wasn't just about this event. It was about forging lasting connections. He realized that his journey would require continuous effort. Earning trust wouldn't happen in a day. Then, just as Nathan was about to turn back to the crowd, a shrill cry pierced the air. He spun around to see Lucas standing by the entrance, his face pale. "Mr. Bennett! Someone's hurt." Panic washed over Nathan. He rushed toward the entrance, his heart hammering in his chest. As he approached, he saw a group of kids gathered around, and the sight sent a chill down his spine. "Stay back," he shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. What happened? Would this event turn from a celebration into a disaster in an instant? Nathan's resolve stiffened. The next few moments felt like slow motion as he moved closer, the crowd parting. What lay beyond those children would test everything he had built up to this point. As Nathan neared the group, he was ready to face whatever came next, but what he found there would change everything he thought he knew about this community and himself. Nathan pushed through the throng of excited children, his heart pounding in his chest. The cluster of kids parted eagerly, revealing a scene that struck him like a punch to the gut. On the ground lay Mrs. Dunn, her apron stained with the remnants of flour from the baking contest, gasping for air. "Lucas, what happened?" Nathan knelt beside her, looking into her eyes, filled with a mixture of fear and confusion. I don't know. She just..." Lucas's voice trailed off, tears pooling in his bright blue eyes. Mrs. Dunn's breaths came in shallow gasps. Nathan could see that she was struggling to grasp her breath. "Nathan, it's just a little too much," she wheezed, every word a battle. Instantly, the joyous atmosphere of the event crumbled, replaced by a thick layer of tension that enveloped them all. The laughter faded, and concern swirled around like a sudden dark cloud. What now? Nathan glanced back at the crowd. Faces were twisted with fear, children whispered. Adults rushed forward, nudging each other for a chance to help. "We need to call someone," one of the women shouted, already reaching for her phone. "No, stay back. Give her space," Nathan commanded, the authority in his voice surprising himself. He focused entirely on Mrs. Dunn, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. "What can I do? Just breathe with me. Can you do that?" She nodded weakly, her hand trembling against the ground. With each shaky inhale and exhale, Nathan felt a wave of urgency wash over him. This was not just an event anymore. It was a moment that would etch itself into the heart of Maplewood. Everything he had worked for, held together by laughter and community spirit, danced precariously on the edge of this moment. The minutes seemed eternal as they waited. Between each breath of Mrs. Dunn, Nathan could now feel the muffled heartbeat of unease pulsing through the crowd. His mind raced. How could he keep that spirit alive when everything felt so fragile? Then he noticed Linda, a determined look in her eyes, rallying volunteers to create space. "Keep calm, everyone. Help is on the way," she said, her voice carrying a light of hope. It seemed she, too, understood the gravity of the moment. Nathan held on to Mrs. Dunn, her hand shaking slightly. "You're not alone," he said, his voice steadying. "Just hang in there. They're coming." For what felt like an eternity, the world around them condensed into a small circle of fear and hope, but Nathan wouldn't let despair set in. He started reminiscing about all the people in the diner, how they had bonded over shared stories and laughs just moments before. That juxtaposition only reinforced his determination. The sirens of the ambulance finally broke through the fog of anxiety, and within moments, paramedics rushed in, seamlessly taking control. They quickly assessed Mrs. Dunn, and she was lifted onto a stretcher, the panic in the air slowly giving way to muted chatter and directions. As they loaded her into the ambulance, Nathan stepped back, breathless. Relief began to wash over him, but it was mixed with something deeper. A feeling of unity surged through the crowd, a bond that was now thicker than they realized. It was more than just an event now. It was a testament to their community resilience. Each face around him showed the raw emotion of shared concern, illustrating a different kind of connection than what he had foreseen. But just as he began to process everything, a voice broke through the noise. "Nathan, wait." It was Old Man Harris, stepping up to Nathan with a knowing look. "You've built something special here, but this is just the beginning. You need to keep this fire going. It's not over yet." Nathan felt a knot in his stomach. He knew Harris was right. The weight of responsibility settled on his shoulders. What would he do next to honor the spirit of resilience that his community had just shown? In that moment of clarity, Nathan also understood. The biggest changes often come from the most unexpected places. Would he be ready to face that challenge head-on? And there, in the heart of Maplewood, with lives hanging in the balance, a new determination began to flicker within him, one that promised to forge even stronger ties ahead. What would this newfound clarity lead to in the days to come? As the crowd began to disperse, Nathan was left standing in the wake of chaos and clarity. The sirens faded into the distance, leaving an echo of anxiety that hung in the air like fog. He felt the weight of Old Man Harris's words thundering in his ears, and he knew he had to act. What does that even mean? He muttered to himself, pacing slowly, hands shoved deep into his pockets. The shadow of the ambulance lingered in his mind, a reminder of the fragility of life. Was he really prepared to harness this newfound responsibility? Or would he let the moment slip away, just like those breaths Mrs. Dunn fought so hard to take? "Hey Nathan," Lucas called, pulling at Nathan's sleeve. His face was still streaked with tears, his blue eyes wide with worry. "Is Mrs. Dunn going to be okay?" Nathan knelt to meet Lucas's gaze, the boy's innocence fetching a deep ache in his heart. "I hope so, buddy. We have to believe she will be." He placed a reassuring hand on Lucas's shoulder, grounding them both. "But if she doesn't come back, what about the gala?" Lucas's voice quivered, uncertainty bubbling to the surface. Nathan felt a pang of guilt. The gala was supposed to unite the community, to celebrate everything they stood for. But now, it felt like it could all crumble at any moment. "The gala, it might need to change," he said slowly. "But it doesn't mean we can't honor her." "Yeah, like a We Love Mrs. Dunn party," Lucas suggested, his youthful optimism shining through the gloom. Nathan chuckled, imagining the delight Mrs. Dunn would feel sitting among everyone, surrounded by love. Exactly like that. Determined, Nathan rose and surveyed the remnants of the baking contest. Tables were scattered, and desserts lay half-eaten under the watchful eyes of the kids, some still hoping for a taste. And then it hit him, a flicker of inspiration igniting within. What if we hold a fundraiser in her honor? Lucas's eyes lit up. That would be awesome. We could bake and sell the treats. Yes. And we make sure to donate the proceeds to her recovery. Nathan felt a rush of energy coursing through him. If Mrs. Dunn inspired them by simply being herself, then they could honor her legacy through kindness and unity. Word quickly spread through the crowd. People began to gather again, drawn by the tentative spark of hope. Nathan watched them, faces transforming from worry to encouragement, just as they had done that fateful day when the baking contest had begun. Linda joined him, her eyes shining with pride. "I heard what you said about the fundraiser. You're building something real here. Together we are." Nathan could feel a fire growing inside him, a collective heartbeat resonating through Maplewood. As ideas flowed, the community rallied, brainstorming ways to cherish Mrs. Dunn and lift her spirits. While reminding themselves of their connection, laughter began to punctuate the discussions, as if it was fighting back against the shadows that had crept in moments before. But just as the energy in the crowd crescendoed, a deep voice interrupted. "We're here to help. What can we do?" A group of local business owners stepped forward, ready to lend their support. Nathan could hardly believe it. This was more than he ever dreamed possible. Yet as gratitude surged within him, an uneasy feeling gnawed at the corners of his mind. His vision for the fundraiser began to evolve, and he realized the road ahead would not only be about their love for Mrs. Dunn, but also challenging him to deepen those community ties, forever changing the fabric of Maplewood. Was he truly prepared for the impact this event would have? With hope alight in his eyes and determination hardening his resolve, Nathan took a deep breath. The question loomed. How far would they go, not just for Mrs. Dunn, but for each other? As they crowded around him, discussing plans and possibilities, a weighty silence settled in the air. Nathan knew this would be more than a fundraiser. It could become a turning point for the entire community. But the real challenge was yet to come. The excitement crackled in the air, a tension mixed with uncertainty that took shape as Nathan faced down the crowd. He could sense the collective heartbeat of Maplewood. Each eager face belonged to a neighbor, a friend, someone who cared about Mrs. Dunn just as fiercely as he did. He swallowed hard, the weight of expectation pressing on his chest. "All right, everyone, let us gather around," he called out, raising his voice to capture their attention. As they shifted closer, he felt a rush of gratitude. Together, they were more than just individuals. They were a family. "We're going to make this fundraiser something special. I want everyone's ideas. Let us brainstorm." With a newfound sense of purpose, Nathan began to lay out their plan. Lucas stood at his side, chiming in with enthusiasm. Ideas flew through the air like glitter, each one brighter than the last. Bake sales, dessert auctions, a community talent show. "We could set up booths," suggested Lisa from down the street. "I bake the best chocolate chip cookies. I can bring those. Count on me for the lemon bars," shouted Mr. Jenkins, the local handyman. His boisterous laughter cut through the tension and sparked more voices joining in. But as they created their vision, Nathan couldn't shake the nagging worry. Hope flickered like a candle in a storm, and he didn't want it to go out. With each suggestion that bounced around the group, he could feel the energy peaking, yet doubt shadowed him. What if they raised enough money, but it wasn't enough to make a difference? He pushed through determined. "Let us not just think of how much we can raise, let's also think about the kind of impact we want to create. This isn't just for Mrs. Dunn. It's also about us, about the community we build day by day. We're here, we're together, and that has to mean something." The crowd grew quiet, reflecting on his words. An understanding settled in as they processed the depth of what this meant. Connection, love, struggles. Together, they defaced these issues over time. And today was no different. As ideas continued to flow, Nathan realized he wasn't alone in this struggle. It was a shared journey. The emotion ripped through him, a mixture of pride and vulnerability. If he could pour this hope into the event, the community would rise to the occasion. "Let us make this something memorable," Nathan spoke, gaining momentum. "We can reach out to local musicians for performances, create a space where stories are shared. Maybe even invite Mrs. Dunn herself if she's up for it." A warm murmur of agreement spread through the crowd. The camaraderie in the air flourished like wildflowers breaking through the soil. But then, from the edge of the gathering, a hesitant figure stepped forward. It was Mrs. Harris, her eyes searching the crowd. She raised a shaking hand. Can I help too?" The question hung in the air, loaded with layers of emotion. Many in the group remembered the days when Mrs. Harris' South laughter filled their park. The warmth of her willingness reignited a bond, and smiles erupted. "Of course. We'd love your help," Nathan exclaimed, his heart swelling. But as people started to plan, something shifted. The ground beneath them felt unsteady, a momentary stillness like the stillness before a storm. Nathan suddenly realized the enormity of what lay ahead. The fundraiser was a bright idea, but were they truly prepared to face the challenges that would come with it? What if they failed? What would that mean for Mrs. Dunn? Nathan glanced around at the determined faces, feeling both excitement and dread. As the conversations bubbled back to life, a whirlwind of laughter evidently lacked the strength to quell his anxiety. He knew he couldn't let that fear take root. The challenge was growing more daunting, and he had to find a way to steady himself and this community. With clenched fists, Nathan made a silent vow to protect their hope. Could he harness their strength and keep them united? More importantly, how would they navigate the obstacles ahead that seemed to loom larger every day? Just as he pondered this, a shadow flickered at the back of his mind. A question lingering unanswered. What if the real challenge wasn't the fundraiser, but confronting the truths they all had left unsaid? As Nathan observed the unified spirit of Maplewood, he couldn't help but wonder. What hidden truths would surface as this journey unfolded? Nathan glanced around the circle of friends and neighbors, their faces bright with hope. But his heart was heavy, and he felt the pull of uncertainty deep within him. The laughter and chatter continued, but he had to address the elephant in the room, the fears buried under the surface. "Hey everyone," he started again, his voice a bit softer this time, drawing attention away from the excitement. "Can we take a moment to talk about, well, what happens if things don't go as planned?" The energy shifted. Conversations paused and eyes turned serious. Even Lucas, always the upbeat one, nodded in agreement. "Yeah," he said, sounding less like a cheerleader and more like a worried friend. "We need to be ready for anything." Nathan felt a flicker of relief mixed with anxiety. It mattered to him that they acknowledged their fears. But did they understand how deep those fears ran? "I'm afraid we could put in all this work and still fall short," he confessed. "What if Mrs. Dunn doesn't get the help she needs?" A silence settled in, heavy with the weight of his words. Across the circle, Mrs. Harris looked thoughtful, her brows furrowed. "I think what matters more is our effort. Mrs. Dunn needs to know she is not alone. Even if we don't raise enough money, the community will have shown up for her. That makes a difference too." Her simple perspective hung in the air, and Nathan felt a warmth blooming in his chest. She was right. They had come together, showing up in a way that mattered. The effort itself was a form of love, a realization that transformed fear into purpose. "But how can we ensure that everything goes smoothly?" queried Lisa, her voice filled with a blend of determination and anxiety. "We need to coordinate this well." With a newfound breath of determination, Nathan straightened his back, feeling the support of those around him. "Let us assign tasks. If everyone has a role, we can cover more ground. We'll make checklists, hold planning meetings, and ensure we communicate. But let us also remember the heart behind this, our love for Mrs. Dunn." A wave of agreement washed over the group, revitalizing the atmosphere. Ideas surged again: who would head up the bake sale, who could reach out to local businesses for donations, who would manage the social media posts. As each person took on their tasks, Nathan felt the buzz of excitement enveloping him again. He watched as people began to break off into smaller groups, animated discussions on how they could collaborate rolling out dynamically. But his heart still thumped with the anxiety of doubts looming in the back of his mind. They might work hard, and still something could go wrong. More than the fundraiser was about community. And community demanded vulnerability, his and theirs. What if the truth of their own struggles came to light as they worked together? Just as Nathan was about to vocalize this concern, a commotion at the back of the crowd caught his eye. A buzz spread backward as people turned to see what was happening. There, standing just outside the circle of familiar faces, was a figure Nathan couldn't quite place. With a slight nod, the new arrival stepped forward, getting closer to the heart of the gathering. Something about the way this stranger stood, confident but weary, sent a ripple of curiosity through the crowd. "Excuse me," the figure started, drawing every eye. "I heard something about a fundraiser. I'd like to help." Pulses quickened, and whispers danced through the crowd. What role could this stranger possibly play in their mission for Mrs. Dunn? Doubts wove through Nathan's mind again. His instinct was to be warm and welcoming, but a small voice inside warned him. Who was this person really? And what connection did they have to Mrs. Dunn? Or to Maplewood itself? As anticipation filled the air, Nathan gazed into the stranger's eyes, wondering if this would lead them to unexpected answers or even deeper questions. Could this new person become a key player in their mission? Or would they threaten the fragile unity they had worked so hard to build? The truth hovered just out of reach, waiting to be uncovered. What lay ahead would challenge their spirit in ways they hadn't even imagined. The stranger stepped closer, his presence commanding yet somehow reassuring. Nathan felt the eyes of the group dart between him and the newcomer, curiosity palpable in the air. The silence stretched, thick with unspoken questions. "I'm Eli," the man said, his gaze sweeping over the assembled faces. "I recently moved to Maplewood. I heard that Mrs. Dunn needs help, and I'd like to pitch in. What can I do?" As Eli spoke, Nathan studied him more closely. The man wore a worn jacket that contrasted sharply with the polished shoes he had on. There was a hint of sadness in his expression, as if he carried the weight of something lost. Nathan's instincts buzzed. Why would someone who had just arrived in town want to get involved so suddenly? Mrs. Harris stepped forward, her face lighting up with hope. We're organizing a fundraiser to assist Mrs. Dunn with her medical bills. If you're willing, we'd love help with organizing, maybe even some resources you might have. I can help with that, Eli replied, a flicker of sincerity in his eyes. I have experience with organizing events. Lucas chimed in. That's great. We could really use some guidance. And if you can reach out to businesses for donations, that'd be huge. Eli nodded, and Nathan couldn't help but feel a mix of gratitude and wariness. Could Eli really help them, or was he simply looking for a way to ease his own burden? Whatever it may be. Let me take the lead on outreach, Eli offered, his confidence spilling over. I'll connect with my contacts and bring in whatever we can to make this event a success. As he spoke, Nathan caught sight of his friend's expressions shifting from skepticism to hope. This newcomer could bring the needed energy and connections, but Nathan still felt that nagging doubt. Was Eli genuinely here to help Mrs. Dunn? Or was he seeking something for himself? Eli, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Nathan found the words slipping out before he considered holding back. What makes you want to jump in on this so quickly? Eli hesitated, and for a brief moment, a shadow numbed his enthusiasm. I've seen what happens when communities come together. I've been on the receiving end of kindness myself, and it changed my life. I guess I want to pay it forward. Nathan felt a softening in his chest. This vulnerability connected him to their mission. Perhaps Eli was indeed looking for redemption through kindness. Still, the uncertainty lingered. Before Nathan could probe further, Lisa chimed in, her excitement overflowing. Then let us plan a meeting right now. We can brainstorm ideas, set goals, and figure out what Eli can get started on. The group buzzed with renewed energy as they moved into quick discussions, and Nathan noticed the shifting dynamic. Eli's presence began weaving its way into the group chatter, the worry fading slightly with each shared idea. But as Nathan watched Eli shift into the role of coordinator, a small voice in his head echoed louder than before. What if Eli had secrets, something that could unravel their progress or taint the charity they aim to create? Nathan's heart raced with mixed feelings, swept along with the tide of community spirit, yet stuck questioning this sudden ally. As the evening wore on, laughter returned, but Nathan found himself still focused on the man who offered his help so readily. Will Eli be the key to this success? Or does the truth hold more peril? Nathan wondered, watching the joyful faces around him, even as his mind continued to swirl with uncertainty. Suddenly, he realized that he needed to find out more about Eli, and fast. The stakes felt too high to ignore, and if they were going to do this right, he had to uncover the truth. And maybe, just maybe, the answer lay in Eli's past. As the meeting unfolded with excitement, Nathan could almost taste the change in the air. But for him, it was laced with unanswered questions, urging him to seek out what he had yet to discover. How deeply could this new connection shake their foundation? And what revelations would surface before it was too late? As the sun dipped low in the sky, Nathan stood with his friends and neighbors, the warmth of the day fading into an amber glow. The community had rallied around him and Eli, and amidst the hum of conversation and shared laughter, Nathan finally felt a sense of belonging. It was a rare feeling since his sudden plunge into Maplewood life, and it filled him with gratitude. Yet, in the back of his mind, the questions about Eli lingered like the shadows stretching from the trees. "Hey Nathan," Lucas whispered, breaking into his thoughts, "are we really going to pull this off?" His eyes sparkled with innocence and hope, a reflection of the dreams kindling in every individual present. Nathan knelt down, meeting the boy's gaze. "You bet we are, Lucas. Everyone is working together. It's about celebrating Mrs. Dunn and showing her she's not alone. And we can do this." His heart swelled as he watched Lucas's smile bloom like a sunflower. Encouraged by Lucas's spirit, Nathan turned back to the group and pushed aside his lingering doubt. "Let us bring our best. We will plan a day that brings everyone together, where we can both honor Mrs. Dunn and celebrate the strength in each other. How does that sound?" Applause erupted, washing over him like a wave, and he felt the gathering's energy pulse as they reveled in their collective purpose. Just as enthusiasm hit its peak, Eli clapped his hands, rallying attention again. "All right, team. Let us break into groups, start assigning tasks, and create an action plan. I'll set up a meeting with local businesses and see what we can get on board." The surprise of the support behind him felt like a spark igniting a flame. While others divided up, Nathan stepped aside, breathing in deeply. If he was going to embrace the heart of this community, he needed to clear his mind. He had to cast aside his doubts about Eli too. He couldn't let his past define others' future. Moments later, the first group met to discuss the bake sale, laughter spilling from their table as they made plans for flavors and decorations. Another group gathered to outline the events of the day: a talent show, games, and maybe even a dunk tank, whatever it took to keep awareness high and contributions flowing. As the evening carried on, Nathan felt the weight of worry lifting. The tight knot in his stomach began to loosen, replaced with a sense of purpose. They were crafting something incredible together, and it was beautiful to witness. But the promo work for the day still plagued Nathan. As the last of the sunlight dipped behind the horizon, he made his way to Eli, who emerged from a conversation with a few other volunteers. "Eli," he said, catching up, "can we talk for a second?" Eli turned to him, surprise flickering in his dark eyes. "Sure, Nathan. What's on your mind?" "Look, I just want to get to know you a little better," Nathan began. "You've jumped in so quickly, and I admire that. But what's your story? Why Mrs. Dunn?" Eli paused and looked away for a brief moment as emotions danced across his face. "To be honest, I've seen firsthand what it means when a community steps up. In my last town, I faced a personal tragedy, but the community pulled together and supported my family. It changed everything for us." Nathan's heart throbbed with compassion. "I get it. And I want to honor that spirit here. It seems that helping Mrs. Dunn is like a new page for you, right?" "Exactly. I want to give back," Eli said, finally looking Nathan in the eye. "But I also need to confront my past, acknowledge my struggles. I thought being here might help." In that moment, Nathan recognized a shared vulnerability, a strong thread connecting them in this mission. "We're all seeking to build something here. Just know you can genuinely rely on us, and we're happy to have you." Eli nodded, their eyes locking with a silent understanding. After their conversation, Nathan felt relieved. He turned back toward the diner, where the planning buzz continued. The community seemed alive with connections stronger than he had imagined. Days rolled into one another as they worked tirelessly in preparation for the fundraiser. Each corner of the diner was painted with laughter and shared stories, building connections that began to weave everyone tighter together. Nathan reveled in the growing anticipation. Community spirit burgeoned as the event neared. On the day of the fundraiser, bright balloons swayed in the gentle breeze. Vendors set up booths. Music floated through the streets, and the warmth of the sun poured down, blessing their efforts. Tensions melted into excitement as patrons filled the diner and spilled outside, their faces alive with curiosity and camaraderie. Nathan took a deep breath, pride swelling in his chest as he surveyed the crowd. Today was their chance to make a difference. Just as things began, Eli emerged at his side, excitement shining through. "It's looking great, Nathan. Can you feel the energy? It's amazing." Nathan grinned back, turning to watch as the kids played games, families mingled, and laughter echoed through the air. It was everything they had envisioned, a celebration of their ties. But there still lurked that one worry in the back of his mind. Would it all hold up through the day? Would Mrs. Dunn feel the love they projected? As the hours passed, people mingled, taking part in games and sharing memories of Mrs. Dunn. And the donations poured in, a testament to the strong bonds they were forming. Every penny gathered echoed with each heartfelt story told, growing into a tapestry of unity and resilience. And then it happened. Mrs. Dunn arrived, a fragile smile touching her lips as she wheeled into the diner. It was a small gesture that sent ripples through the crowd. "Look, it's Mrs. Dunn," Nathan shouted happily, heart racing. Murmurs cascaded through the crowd as they gathered around her, enveloping her in genuine warmth. Tears filled her eyes. "You all are too much. I can hardly believe." "Just listen," Nathan interrupted, stepping forward, words spilling out. "Today is for you. Every bit of love raised is for your recovery." In that moment, the love and dedication poured from the gathered crowd, embracing Mrs. Dunn, who visibly felt the support. They were encapsulated in a space of shared humanity, transforming their adversity into connection. "Thank you," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't realize I meant so much to everyone." Nathan shared a soft smile, the doubts that once plagued him evaporating like mist in the warmth of the sun. Together, we'll fight, Eli said from beside him, his voice unwavering. In that moment, they understood this was not just a fundraiser. This, indeed, was the rebirth of their community, a testament to the power of connection. And as laughter echoed under the open sky, Nathan felt the heartbeat of Maplewood around him. A pulsing reminder that they were all together. Everything had shifted. Lives, hopes, connections intertwined in newfound understanding. And his heart swelled with gratitude. And then, amid the music, louder now, filled with the rhythm of joy, Nathan realized how deeply he had changed, how the hollowness had filled with purpose, fueled by love. He wasn't just a newcomer anymore. He was part of the very fabric of this place. And now, as the sun dipped into the horizon, casting long shadows behind them, Nathan knew that the stories ahead would weave in together many more challenges. Many more transformations lay ahead. But he felt empowered, strengthened. He would stand as one of them, ready to embrace whatever came next. And with that thought, he couldn't help but reflect warmly on how every journey, no matter how difficult, leads to the light of connection if only we dare to lift each other up. Join in. Subscribe immediately to witness these inspiring stories unfold. As we dive deeper into the heart of transformation, leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and show your support. It means everything. Comment Bilou? What does this transformation mean to you? And please share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey of hope and connection. This is the moment to be part of something bigger than ourselves. Don't wait not even one more second to spread this message.